Numbers 7 and 8 are also very similar to I'm thinking of a number problem. They're really just I'm thinking of a number problem dressed up with some angle geometry, and it helps to remind yourself of some angle terminology. I'd like you to try doing the setup for number 7, and then pause the video and do the setup for number 7, and then I will talk you through it, and you can see what I did. All right, assuming you're back from pausing. Number 7 says two angles are supplementary. Supplementary means they add up to 180 degrees. So you already have one of your equations. We'll call it x for the first angle and y for the second angle, and that means they equal 180 because they are supplementary. So this is, I'll call this the supplementary angles equation. And then there's this statement that one angle is 3 degrees less than twice the other. Okay, so that suggests a subtraction problem. It doesn't matter whether it was x or y, just pick one to be the one that is 3 degrees less than twice the other. Since the subtraction problem has to go in one direction, I'm going to make the twice the other. I'm going to use the x for that. So 2x gives me twice the other minus y will equal 3 degrees. So this says y is 3 degrees less than twice x, which satisfies our situation. Now, this is a pretty good candidate for elimination, I think, because you can just add the equations and get rid of y, and then go back and figure out what x is once you have y. All right, pause the video and try doing the setup for number 8. Remind you that complementary here means is different from supplementary. Complementary means the angles add up to 90 degrees. So pause the video and try setting up number 8, please. All right, I will go ahead and walk through number 8, assuming you've done that setup and you paused. So two angles are complementary. The sum of the measure of the first angle and half the second angle is 64 degrees. Find the measure of the angles. They've even laid it out for you here. You've got this right angle, and x and y add up to a right angle. So we've got our first equation. I'm going to call that the complementary angles equation. So x plus y has to equal 90 degrees because they're complementary. And the other part is kind of the I'm thinking of a number piece of it, which says we're going to add the first angle to half of the second angle, and we'll get 64. So x plus 1/2 of y equals 64 degrees. Okay, so now this is a good candidate for elimination as well, because if you subtract the two equations, the x part goes away. And this 1/2 is a fraction as a coefficient, but it's not too horrible to deal with. So pause the video and try to solve each of these setups. And then when you get back, I'll walk through solving them myself. Okay, assuming you are now back from pausing, we're going to go ahead and solve number 7. I'm going to add the two equations. So if I add x plus y equals 180 and 2x minus y equals 3, I'm going to get 3x, and the y's cancel out, equals 183. All right, now I'm going to have to divide both sides by 3. And x is going to equal, 3 divided by 3 is 1, and 180 divided by 3 is 60. So x equals 61 degrees. And I can go back and I can replace x in this simple equation, or in this one. It doesn't matter to me too much, but I'll go with the first one because I don't have to multiply x by anything. So I've got 61 plus y equals 180, because we know one of the angles is 61 degrees now. and the sum of the two angles is 180. So I subtract 61 from both sides, and y is going to equal 119 degrees. There's your solution for that one. On the other one, I'm going to subtract the two equations as they are. I don't have to do anything really to the coefficients to make it work. First equation minus second equation. If I subtract the x's, there's nothing. If I subtract half of a y from a y, I get 1/2 y. And if I subtract 90 minus 64, I'm going to get 26. Okay. To get rid of times 1/2, you could divide both sides by 1/2, but that's really the same as saying times 2. And anytime you have a fraction you need to get rid of that's you're currently being multiplied, if you multiply it by its reciprocal, and 2 is the reciprocal of 1/2, you will turn the fraction, the product of that is always just going to be 1. So 2 times 1/2, 2 halves is 1. All right, so we drop out those numbers on that side. Y equals, well, 26 times 2 is 52 degrees. So we have our two angles. We've got 52 degrees for y, and we don't yet know our x angle, but we have what we need to solve for it. So I can just replace x, then replace y, I mean, with 52 degrees. All right, and then we just solve for x. So I subtract 52 from both sides, and x equals 90 minus 52. 90 minus 52 is going to be 38. So my two angles are 38 degrees and 52 degrees. If you add those together, you will get 90 degrees. That they are complementary, so that satisfies that. And I hope that was helpful. Please try some more.